So I've had a gun pulled on me 3 different times. First time, I was with my brother going to get my kids from my ex, and he decided to pull a gun out and tell me he was going to shoot me before he let me take my kids. That didn't go over very well, and I got my kids, by the way. He didn't get to see them for a while. I don't even know if I ever let him go back. Anyways, the second time I got a gun pulled on me, I was doing security for UGA football games in the stadium in private sites, and I was guarding copper one night, a fence full of copper actually, and I had just got on shift, and we did 12-hour shifts, and the night before I was off. Let me explain that. The night before I was off, I did not work. Well, the other guy who worked the shift carries. So I got on shift, and it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe before then. It wasn't too late, but it wasn't too early. His 2 kids appear onto the site. They ain't supposed to be on property. I asked them to leave, and they ended up pulling guns on me and telling me how they're going to shoot me. And instead of me walking back to my vehicle, like a smart person, because I'm not very smart, obviously, I walked toward them and asked them to please leave. And instead, they look at me like, "You're not the one from last night, are you?" I was like, "No." So they asked me if I was carrying. I was like, "No." And they ended up getting off property. I had to call police and report it. And then the third time, which my boss was like, "You should have got your vehicle and just left," which I did not. And then she gave me one of her guns to carry for the next couple weeks because she was worried about my safety, because she didn't know if the kids were going to come back. What happened was the guy the night before pulled a gun on the 2 kids for being on property, asked them to leave, and they wouldn't leave, so he pulled out his gun and asked them to leave properly. Anyways, when the third time I was at a club, and we're gonna call it Top of the Hill, and a dude had just got into a really bad wreck with his wife, and she was hospitalized, and he was a really nice guy, but he had gotten drunk at our club that night, and on his way back to where he walked from to us, he pulled his gun out and proceeded to look at me and act like he was going to shoot me. And his buddy was with him, and his buddy had, thank God, talked him out of it. And all I did was just stand there and stare at him, and then walk closer to him. Like, please, I didn't know him. Didn't know nobody, just started this club. Didn't know him. And didn't know what happened with his wife. Didn't know he was going through some shit. And I just steadily walked toward him. And his buddy's like, "No, please don't shoot her. Please don't." She's, "No, you think it is." And he had such a traumatic PTSD from the bike accident that he had, had flashbacks that I was the person who hurt his wife. And I was not even the description of this person, but it didn't matter. They took away his weapons for a little while, actually, because of the situation. But because he was part of the Fight Club. But he ended up, putting his gun up or whatever, but giving it to Buddy, and apologizing to me a million times over after that. He came in the very next night, apologized, and told me how sorry he was, and I was like, "I understand." He told about his wife and stuff, and I got to meet his wife. I stayed there for like 3 years at this club, and I got to meet his wife, loved her to death. Went to play pool with her a couple times, played pool with him a couple times, went down there and seen him at their clubhouse. They were really, really nice people. But when you go through traumatic experiences, you're not always safe. And sometimes it's not safe people around you. And that's okay. If you can surround yourself with people who are safe, who can protect you like that. Like I said, that man was very, very nice. He actually became really, really sweet to me. His wife adored me. She let me come down there anytime I wanted to, as long as she was in the clubhouse too. So, it wasn't disrespect. And most of the time I didn't go unless the wives were there, or my buddy was there. I don't really like Clubhouse by myself. I don't particularly like people because of the fact that I don't trust people, especially with the gun being pulled on me. Even though if he went to begin, somebody else could have. And knowing that, I'm just a little bit more precautious than I need to be because of all the guns that have been pulled on me. In every one of them, I didn't walk away. I didn't run. I walked toward it. And that's the weird part that I don't understand. So, it is what it is.